Hey, welcome to Focus on Framingham. This is show number 9. We're recording it on October 6th, 2018. I've been off for a few weeks. I've been pretty busy, but we've got a lot of news to go over. So, just so you know who I am, I'm Mike Cunningham. I am the host of Focus on Framingham. And as you can see, I need to update those graphics so that the bug doesn't go on top of it like that. And you can reach us or find us on focusonframingham.tv. That will take us to our YouTube channel. Or you can email me at mike@focusonframingham.tv. And if you keep seeing me look up like this, it's because I've got a monitor up here that shows what's going on. So I try to keep an eye on that. I probably should put one right in front of the camera so that I can see that. So let's start with the first of the few stories. Probably the biggest story of the last couple of weeks here has been all about the situation with the mayor appointing the police chief without properly advertising it. So on October 1st, this story is from Framingham Source. Mayor Spicer may have appointed Framingham police chief without properly posting position. The city of Framingham charter calls for employment vacancies to be posted for a minimum of 14 days, either publicly or internally. And I actually have a graphic for this. I'm going to call this chief drama. The city of Framingham may not have posted the Framingham police chief position as required by the charter before Mayor Yvonne Spicer announced her appointment of Stephen Trask as the city's new chief last Tuesday. The charter approved by the voters in a legal document states whenever a vacancy occurs or is about to occur in any municipal employment except for positions covered by the civil blah, 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 blah. So no posting was placed in any of the police department and no electronic communications listing position was sent to the FPSOA that the FPSOA is aware of. So the Framingham Police Superior Officers Association President Scott Brown. Now, I believe he has... They've actually written an op-ed that Framingham Source has hosted. I'll try to find that in a minute here. But she's got an update to the story here. The city of Framingham, Dolores Hamilton, emailed Source this evening to say that the police chief position was posted internally on Tuesday, September 25th. The position was posted internally as of 9 to 5/18, so the 25th of September, and will come down on October 9th, wrote Hamilton in an email today, October 1st. I'm told, but it is not confirmed that the job was posted a day or a few days prior to the mayor's announcement of her selection. As such, a 14-day period required by the charter has not expired prior to the mayor's announcement. So this has caused a lot of news to be generated. I'm going to see if I can find, because there was... a op-ed here written. I can find it. There's so much going on here. Here we go. Framingham needs a transparent and open selection process for police chief. We find it difficult to believe that Mayor Spicer is dismayed at our statement based on the information we provided just a few months ago. Both elected bodies representing all the uniformed personnel serving the city of Framingham were approached by former Chief Ferguson and asked to support Stephen Trask as the next police chief. Framingham Police Officers Union, FPOU, stated that it could not support Deputy Chief Trask and wrote the mayor offering to meet and discuss candidates she would be considering. The FPOU has never received a response from Mayor Spicer. The elected board of the Framingham Police Superior Officers Association opted to meet with the mayor and her chief operating officer. At that April meeting, the mayor was told the mayor was told the Framingham Police Superior Officers Association did not support any of the deputies serving at that time and explained that a fair and impartial process to identify and select the best candidate available for the position is what is needed. Both organizations, with the interest of the public and the officers serving them in mind, maintain that without a transparent and open selection process, simply appointing the acting chief only serves the interest of a few rather than of the public and the men and women. A new chief intends to lead, protect, and serve. Mayor Spicer has hired a consultant to provide a written public report on her findings as to the state of the department and its personnel. So why pay tens of thousands of dollars of taxpayers' money, then not wait for the report and not use its findings? The report will be written for everyone to review rather than a brief private discussion that is then relayed to the city council. As it happens in many cases, what is said and what is heard can be very different things. The written findings will not be up for interpretation. Deputy Chief Trask has a resume similar to that of many officers serving in our city. It is our opinion that the charter, temperament, and agenda of the next chief... It is our opinion that the character, temperament, and agenda of the next chief should be as important as his or her resume. So it ends with the most troubling question is why Mayor Spicer is reluctant to wait for the public report she ordered, listen to the concerns of the public, and then have an open search for the Framingham police chief. So I've yet to see really any response to this, although I think I heard her on NPR, WGBH, here in Boston, as to some response to that. When I find some more written up on it, I will bring that to you. But we'll move on here. These are some stories that have kind of piled up over the last few weeks, and I can go over these kind of quickly. Then neighbors irked by Ruckus at Samba restaurant in Framingham. This is from Framingham's the Wicked Local for Framingham. Includes content from the Framingham tab. Although this was written, it says, by Daily News staff. Neighbors are fuming over the late night reveille at Samba Steakhouse, Route 9 restaurant that doubles as a nightclub on the weekends. Located on the border of residential properties on Mayhew Street, the restaurant has permission to serve alcohol until 1 a.m. for most of the week and until 2 a.m. on Fridays, but the residents say loud music, shouting, and carousing continues well into the morning, spilling over into the parking lot surrounding business as patrons head home. Neighbors recently urged the Board of License Commissioners to take action, saying complaints to the city officials and police have done little to put a lid on the noise and the trouble near their homes. We're struggling here, said Sean Farringer of 5 Mayhew Street Extension. This is a neighborhood that's losing its quality of life. Speaking at a recent public meeting, Farringer said Samba began operating as a nightclub environment around November 2017, drawing large crowds. The business, which moved into the neighborhood about 12 years ago, is only a few hundred feet from nearby homes. We started hearing in our homes, Farringer said. Beginning around 10 p.m., loud thumping bass, boom, 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 would go until close. Customers now routinely filling 4 parking lots in the area, Farringer said, estimating an upward of 170 cars parked near the restaurant at night. The neighbors documented how loud the music can be heard from within inside their homes, Farringer said, offering to play a recording for the licensing board during an unscheduled discussion about the business. He also said he worked with the police and the building department in February to fix the problem, prompting measured improvements, but the situation has gone south again. Since then, Farringer says that he has filed a series of complaints with the licensing board to no avail. He says that a tenant who lived in his home recently moved out, fed up with the situation. It's been 2 months since we first filed anything. We haven't heard back. We're desperate. This is why we're here. Another neighbor, this is a good one, who rents on Mayhew Street Extension, said that she routinely walks through the parking lot at 3 a.m. to ask people to leave. The woman says she has encouraged people drinking. She has encountered people drinking and using drugs, and on one occasion found a man urinating underneath her window. So this is Delorean Camus of 20 Mayhew Street. Said the owner of the business answered neighbors' complaints several years ago about the outdoor seating on Samba's deck, putting in fences and landscaping to buffer the noise. She also credited Samba with hiring a police detail on certain nights, but said the efforts aren't enough. So we'll have to see what comes of that. I haven't heard anything back on that, but I thought that was kind of an interesting situation going on there. Here is a interesting story, and unfortunately, I didn't save the picture, so let's see if I can do that real quick. This is a story about a historic road marker, I guess, that had been taken down in Framingham, and they recently just put it back up. Let's see if I can pull that up here. There we go. And basically, I guess it had been in storage, and I'm not exactly sure what the marker's for. I'm going to find out in 1 second here. And here's the marker in question. This is a story in Framingham Source. Framingham, the Massachusetts Department of Transportation and the City of Framingham have announced that the crews have reinstalled a historic 1930s Massachusetts Bay Colony 10th centenary marker in Framingham as part of an effort to inventory and document the original markers that were installed nearly 90 years ago throughout the Commonwealth. I know a marker like this down in Plymouth for Plymouth Rock. The marker in Framingham, which commemorates colonial farmer Thomas Erms, was located in a mass dot storage facility before being rehabilitated with the Framingham Historical Commission and reinstalled this summer at the corner of Mount Waite Avenue and Dudley Road. And it's funny, I drive through there all the time, and I haven't noticed it. The MassDOT has been pleased to work with the City of Framingham and reinstall this 90-year-old roadway marker that celebrates its history of this local community in Massachusetts. So if you're in that area of Mount Waite and Dudley Road, check it out and see if you can actually see it. This happened back at the end of September, also from Framingham Source. 6 teens were arrested at Framingham High following a fight and an armed robbery. Framingham police arrested 5 teens at Framingham High School after a fight Wednesday morning just before 7:30. A 16 was arrested at the high school today, September 27th. Framingham Police Lieutenant Patricia Gregus says that there was a fight and a cell phone was stolen because the theft happened during an assault. It's said to be classified as a robbery. Students told Framingham Source there were multiple police cruisers and an ambulance on Wednesday morning, which was an AM collaborative day for the high school. That means students start classes later than usual. Students said that 1 teen was treated because the 6 arrested teens. They did not release their names. 3 of the teens were arrested at Framingham High at 12:45 p.m. So 2 of the teens were charged with armed robbery, simple assault and battery, conspiracy to commit a crime, and larceny from an individual. The 3rd teen was charged with armed robbery, assault, and battery with a dangerous weapon, intimidation of a witness, conspiracy to commit a crime, and larceny. Wow, that's some pretty serious stuff. And this, jeez. 2 additional teens were arrested in Framingham after school was dismissed around 3. The 2 teens were charged with armed robbery. I'm not exactly seeing what the details of this. So there was a conflict among some students at Framingham High School this morning. School administration resource officers and Framingham police officers intervened quickly, addressed the matter. Charges have been filed against a few students, and Framingham Police Department is actively investigating this. So I think it happened like there was like a bridge nearby where this happened. and I think it has some funny name, and I'm probably looking totally out of touch by not knowing it. But I'm sure in a few years, when my kids are in high school, I'll know more than I want to know about it. So here's another story about the government here. This is also from Framingham source. Mayor Spicer began advertising for individuals interested to serve on the Framingham Board of Health in mid-July. Monthly, I think she meant a month later, the mayor has yet to name her choices to the City of Framingham Board of Health. Although the July 20 job posting did not state how many individuals the mayor would appoint under state statute, city health boards are comprised of just 3 members. So she submitted names for various volunteer boards, committees, and commissions in June and again in July, but no names were submitted to the 11-member elected city council by the mayor for the City of Framingham Board of Health. The Town of Framingham Board of Health was comprised of 5 individuals. The current Board of Health has 5 members and suspending licenses, approving permits, and discussing marijuana regulations since January. It's a 5-member board, not 3 members. So I sort of wonder if that's kind of what's going on. So the city council is 30 days from when the mayor makes her appointments to approve or reject. And that's the last I've heard on that story. On today, October 6th, Brett Kavanaugh was appointed to the Supreme Court. There was Framingham held a vigil in front of the Framingham Main Library with Mayor Spicer as a Stop Kavanaugh vigil. Says here, the Stop Kavanaugh vigils to send a message that safety is a concern from the criminal activity in downtown Framingham all the way to criminal activity in the Supreme Court. And there's a link here. This is another story that the acting police chief, Stephen Trask, Mr. Chief, announced today that a meeting to discuss downtown Framingham and strategies for the area will be held on October 3rd, and I think that that's kind of what this was dovetailing into. So that happened. The next story I actually have a video for, so we'll queue up that here, and we'll be back in a minute.
Council executive branch, which resulted in a bylaw for our community to implement the new state laws regarding the use of recreational marijuana. We know this was not an easy task. There were many who strongly favored recreational marijuana, and there are also those strongly opposed. But we have legalized marijuana in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It was the work of you, each and every one of you, involved to navigate those differences, to create compromise, and to develop a workable progress for the city of Framingham. This is a local government working at its best. That is why I invited you here this morning, because you made this possible. And I thank each and every one of you, and those of you that are not here as well. So, on behalf of the city of Framingham, I sign our very first bylaw as it relates to recreational marijuana.
So that was the signing ceremony. I know that there's a lot of people in Framingham that are excited about that, and probably a few that are not, but the story that goes along with it was that this was the mayor's first public ordinance signing since she took office in January. She invited the members of the Recreational Marijuana Task Force and the 11-member city council to the public signing in the Blondie Room in the Memorial Building. This was on 10 a.m. October 5th. District 6 City Councilor Mike Rossi, a member of the Recreational Marijuana Task Force, was given the ceremonial pen after the signing. The zoning bylaws approved by the Framingham City Council allow for up to 6 recreational marijuana establishments in the city of Framingham. All recreational marijuana establishments must be licensed by the State Department of Public Health and the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission. Plus, each establishment will need a host agreement signed by Mayor Spicer. So, that's kind of a neat thing going on. So, I'm glad to see that is coming along finally. It's only been, 2 years? Let's see. A couple more stories we'll breeze through here pretty quickly because we're getting near the end of the show. The police chief, we need you to be our eyes and ears in downtown Framingham. This is another story in Framingham Source. Framingham Police Chief Stephen Trask told a room full of Framingham residents and business owners to pick up the phone and call the police if they have an issue in downtown Framingham. We need you to be our eyes and ears in downtown Framingham, said Chief Trask. This was the second meeting in 6 weeks the police department and Mayor Yvonne Spicer have held on downtown Framingham. The first was held last week in August. One of the business owners tonight asked the police chief to put 10 to 15 police officers walking downtown. The chief explained that his department has 134 officers, including himself, but said tonight he just had 6 police officers and cruisers on the street of Framingham. Trask told the audience about 75 people in the main library that night. If you see an issue, call 911 or the police line at 508-872-1212. Said if the police don't respond, call back and ask to speak to the shift commander. He said if a resident or business owner is not happy with the response from the shift commander, to call him. He stressed that the police want to hear about the issues and will work to solve the problems. Hold us accountable for what we say we're going to do, said Chief Trask. Mayor Spicer said this is not just about downtown Framingham. The mayor said we need to be a part of the solution. I don't know if there's been a lot of complaints. I get the feeling that there have been. If you have, just send me an email, mike@focusonframingham.tv, and let me know. Up in Saxonville, because I like to conclude one story about little Saxonville once a show. The Mass Victory mobilizes volunteers and candidates across the Commonwealth to elect Republicans to all levels of government. The Mass Victory uses a data blah 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 blah. But the headline is the Republican Party opens a Mass Victory office in Saxonville section of Framingham. So I guess they're moving that in there. There's pictures here of them promoting Charlie Baker. So there's a state. There'll be the election on Tuesday, November 6th of this year. So stay tuned for that. Maybe our next show will have the results from that election. Let's see. One more story here. The 2 men try to attack a student at Framingham State Monday night. This is October 3rd. This story was in Framingham Source. 2 men tried to attack a female student outside of Framingham State University on a pathway between Hemingway and Dwight Halls on the campus of Framingham State University on Monday night. Campus police are investigating and have increased patrols after the assault was reported, according to the university. Framingham State University President F. Javier Chavalos issued an alert today informing students of the incident. The safety of our students is always my number one priority. In the alert, the university president suggested avoid walking alone, memorize where the blue emergency call boxes are, always carry a cell phone and be aware of surroundings, use the shuttle bus, report all suspicious people and vehicles, walk in well-lit areas, and if someone feels unsafe, call campus police for an escort. Anyone with information about the incident is asked to contact the campus police at 508-626-4911. Let's see. And finally, Seal Committee. So as you know, we still have this town of Framingham Seal. We need to update it. And the Framingham City Seal Development Committee is seeking public input in the creation of the new city seal. Residents of Framingham are invited to attend a public forum on Monday, October 15th at 6 p.m. in the Blummer Room in the Memorial Building. City of Framingham Charter calls for a community-wide process to design a new seal or to adapt the current seal in the city of Framingham by the year 2020. Well, that's a long time. The Volunteer City Seal Development Committee was appointed by the City Council in July. Through research and community input, the committee will reflect on Framingham's past, present, and future and create a seal that represents the essence of Framingham. Oh boy. The last time Framingham seal was changed was in the year 1900, said Lisa Ferguson, Framingham City's clerk and keeper of the city seal. We're excited for this unique opportunity to invite the public to share what makes Framingham special and ideas about the themes and imagery to be included. Members of the city, so they list a bunch of people here. Joel Winnett, former Axis Framingham president. He's the clerk. Rob Levine, Richard Finley, Allison Guzman, Renan Pinheiro, and Fred Wallace are on the committee. So I've come up with a couple of ideas for the seal here, if you will indulge me for a second. See if we can get these rolling. Whoop. So the first one here is City of Framingham. We have a KFC that's also a Taco Bell. Let's look at the next one here. City of Framingham, now with more pot. What's next here? Hey, Shoppers World is still here. And let's see, I think this is the last one. We are more than just the rest area on the pike. So you have to forgive me. I only had like 5 minutes to come up with these gems. But there's a couple of examples, and as you can see, I kind of stuck with the old and kind of introduced some of the new. So I think that's it for today on Focus on Framingham. Again, if you would like to have a story featured, or if you have questions or comments or anything, reach out to me, Mike. You can find our YouTube channel, focusonframingham.tv, or you can email us. I also want to mention that Axis Framingham has a new schedule starting in October, so I think our night has changed. So check out axisfram.tv for our new schedule. And I would also check out Framingham Beat and the Framingham's social media, like their Twitter and Facebook pages, because they've been featuring a lot of really useful information about both Axis Framingham and events going on around the town. So I highly encourage that everybody take a look at that. So I've been your host, Mike Cunningham, and I'll see you in a few weeks here on Focus on Framingham. Health and wisdom from Focus on Framingham.